Yes, welcome to Money Making Conversation. I am your host, Rashawn McDonald. As stated, each Money Making Conversation show is about entrepreneurship and entertainment. I provide the consumer, that's you, and business owner access to celebrity CEOs, entrepreneurs, and social influencers. I recognize that we all have different definitions of success. For some, it's a sizable paycheck. Mine is helping people wake up and inspiring them to accomplish their goals and live their very best life. These are my passions, and that's what I'm going to do for you. I want you to stop tripping over small challenges and prepare to rise above the bigger obstacles that life will present to you. The Money Making Conversation interviews provide relatable information to the listener about career and financial planning, entrepreneurship, motivation, leadership, overcoming the odds, and how to live a balanced life. My next guest is a dear friend. He is a product of Harlem, New York. I've been to Harlem many, many times. Not the Harlem when I first went to Harlem in 88. It's not the Harlem that's there now. Has studied numerology and astrology for many years. He's an expert. He's brought the subject to light by ways many of his books, lectures, and appearances on both national television and radio shows such as Oprah Winfrey. See, you can just stop with credits right there. Just say Oprah Winfrey. People just go, okay, he good. He good. Please welcome to Money Making Conversations, my man, Lloyd Strayhorn. You good? When you can put Oprah in your credits, Lloyd, you good. You're good.
Yeah. In fact, I was on there 3 times with her, and ironically, each time I was with 3 of the women. Mm-hmm. So on 3 different occasions, but we were talking about this ancient subject of astrology and numerology.
When people come to you, it was
a wonderful experience.
When people come to you, are they expecting? What do they expect from you? When you're an expert, you're the best at what you do. Okay, that's numerology and astrology. What do they expect from you?
Well, first of all, they expect honesty, which is, you can't help it if you don't be honest. Mm-hmm. But you explain to them that the services I employ act as a guide. It does not compel, it more impels. In other words, once I give you the information, right, then you have the freedom of your mind to either follow the advice or not. So you could tell a person, listen, if you stand in front of a truck you're not going to see tomorrow, then it's up to them. But at least you have spoken in a way that conveys the honesty of it. And so that's what it does. It acts as a guide to help a person so they can be in the right place at the right time. Because if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, certainly there's got to be the other side of that equation, which I have mastered over my many years of doing this.
Right. You know, I mentioned earlier, I remember I first moved up to New York, trying to do stand-up comedy in 1988. Moved up to New York and lived at 86th and 1st, Upper East Side. And Harlem, where I went up to Harlem, it's like, because you grow up, all you do is hear about Harlem, cross 125th Street, okay?
Yes.
And so that's 88. And I remember you couldn't catch a cab to Harlem. I mean, it's like you'd take the subway and they had the gypsy cars. The gypsy cars would take you up and back. But cabs, yellow cabs,
that's right,
they would not take you. You say you're going north, they go, I'm sorry. Or put their flag on dark like they were off, just so they wouldn't take you up there. Now, we've seen this journey you've seen it. You live in Harlem currently. Tell us about the 88 to now experience right quick. Because when I'm talking to a person who has saw this tremendous change, it has to be different from the eyes of a person who's watching it and living and seeing the change.
Well, I have actually seen and lived the changes. First of all, I'm a product of Harlem because I was born in Harlem. Mm-hmm. Okay, but people don't realize that if you talk to the New York Tourism Board, Harlem is the most sought-after place from people all around the world to visit. Wow. And what happened is when Black people moved into Harlem in the early 20s, that began to change the whole face and reputation of this community. Since the last about, say, 5.5 years, it's becoming more gentrified. But you are absolutely right. If I was downtown, I'd more depend on a bus to take me home or a train to take me home than trying to get a cab to come home, okay? I remember one time I talked to this ambassador from Nigeria, and they told him, well, don't go to Harlem. Rashad, would you like to know the first place I took him to, sir?
Harlem.
He loved it. He loved it, okay? Everybody loves Harlem.
Absolutely.
And if you on Sunday mornings, there are more white visitors visiting all of our Black churches throughout all of Harlem. People come from all over the world just to visit this little small patch of land.
Yes.
But it is dynamic. It has produced the likes of Malcolm X. It produced the likes of Marcus Garvey. Paul Robeson walked this street. James Weldon Johnson lived right around the corner from where I live at now. Then you have the Black Swan recording label, which was the music, which was the original first recording of African Americans. In fact, where I get my hair cut is the exact location where the UNIA, which is the Universal Negro Improvement Association, founded by Marcus Garvey, was printed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's rich. I mean, it's rich in so many other things.
It really is. It really is. Food, Sylvia's, and many other places like that. But now you walk up, you couldn't catch a cab. Now you can get a cab. I think that Uber really changed the game for.
Yes, it did.
It changed the game. It really changed the game. Now you see at 2:00 in the morning, white people walking around with their dogs.
Oh yeah. This is changed completely. But it's still predominantly black. But what happened is in the gentrification mode, they wanted to change the name of Harlem. But the Harlemites, as we call ourselves, wasn't having none of it. So Harlem will remain the name Harlem, period.
They wanted to change the name Harlem to what?
Yeah, they wanted to change it when they started moving up to the Bronx and other areas of Washington Heights. Then they wanted to change the name to give it a more, I guess, whatever kind of name you want to call it. But they tried for a half a second to change the name to Harlem. That did not fly at all.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's talk about your career, my friend. I just wanted to let everybody know when you have a historian on the phone, especially a Harlem historian, you want to let them speak a little bit because that's what I do on Money Making Conversation. I educate you too. It's good to get a little local education from a person who was born in Harlem, lived through Harlem, now currently stays in Harlem. That's a life. Now, numerology, astrology. How does one get involved in that? And then how does one become an expert?
Well, one becomes an expert, like in all things we do by study. Okay, we know that. You can't get around it. It's not instant osmosis, and it's not instant gratification. Just add water. You in anything you do, whether I do what I do or you do what you do, we put years of study and effort and consistency and training. And sometimes disciplines ask ourselves, are we even crazy for doing this? Okay. Because who would have ever thought, because I saw some of your videos when you were here in New York doing comedy.
Right.
Well, who would have ever thought then that the Rashawn McDonald today would be totally transformed in everything you do?
Yes.
Helping countless people. That is amazing.
Thank you.
That's kind of what I do. I'll take a person's birthday. So let's say if you got a person that's born on the 27th of the month, like February, right?
Yes,
well,
sir.
that means that person, they know they're a Pisces, but until they meet me, they now know they're a Pisces 9 person because they're born on the 27th of the month, and 2 plus 7 is 9. That's what got me hooked. Like the numbers only go from 1 to 9. I got 10 fingers. I got this. That was my attitude. Never in my wildest dream that I would wind up writing books, have national TV, radio shows, doing it all. Online course now that I have available on my website, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com.
Tell us about that. That online course.
Well, the online course is a 10-part course designed to get a person or teach a person how to do what I do in its simplest forms. It is for beginners, but even intermediate and professionals can always use a review.
Right.
And the 10-part is to go at your own pace, rate. You take your time. You can do it in a day. You can do it in a week. You can do it in a month. But it takes you a year. Then that means I have to revise it. But over and above that, it's a go at your own pace. And it tells you a couple of things. One, how to analyze a person's name. For example, if I walk up to a person, I could more probably get their first name than walk up and say, "Excuse me, what's your birthday?" If I walk up and says, "Hi, what's your name?" You might say Rashawn.
Absolutely.
And then followed by, in your mind, who are you and why you want to know?
Right.
But if I said your birthday, it's like, "Excuse me," not unless you're in a motor vehicle, Social Security office, doctor's office, something like that.
Right.
So,
and then I'm gonna mumble that out to you so nobody would hear it.
Yes. And so what happens is the name denotes one natural talent, gifts, skills, and abilities. That's the first part of the 10-part course I do. The first 5 parts is about doing your name. You know, Shakespeare says, what's in a name? The response is everything. Okay? And so the name unlocks and tells their natural talents, gifts, skills, abilities, and even the kinds of parents that they were born to by way of either their zodiac signs or date of birth. Okay? I mean, this thing is just fascinating. I couldn't believe this. And I thought that everybody should do this because everybody, I've learned, don't have an interest in this. But I guess that's what makes the world go round.
Right.
But it guides you and it points you north in terms of what you do. So if I tell this person who's born on February 27th, I would explain that they're by a water element with a fire sign, which means they're sensitive and passionate at the same time. And that 9 people normally don't take stuff from nobody. Okay? 9 is a leader number. They like to be the masters of their fate and the captains of their ship, LaShawn.
Absolutely.
You can't dictate terms. You can try,
yes,
but I don't think you will be successful.
Now, you know, you talk about favorable days in this whole process. What does that mean?
That means this. Timing is everything, especially in the cosmos.
Yes, sir.
There is a time and a season for everything once goes the same. And so by a person's birthday, so let's stick to this example of February 27th. I know that person is a 9 because they're a Pisces that is ruled by Jupiter, which rules the number 3. And then the other number to it is a 6. So this person born on February 27th would be the 9, the 3, and the 6. Well, 9 rules Tuesday, 3 rules Thursday, and 6 rules Friday. So I would tell that person that their best times to do anything of significant, of consequence, you know, hanging out, bowling, you know, having something to eat at a restaurant, that's one thing. But when you've got to make those life-changing decisions, those decisions of major consequences that's going to affect your future, as your outcome, as well as your budget, then timing becomes everything. And what my objective is to get my clients to be in the right place at the right time in perfect harmony with the universe. And by setting up their names or their days, they know how to plan their affairs. And the testimonies I get is just like ridiculous, man. I mean, it's like a very, very nice confirmation of my dedication to my craft. Probably just like you.
Which you are. You are the best at it. Before we go in this break, can you tell everybody how to reach out to you and contact you, whether social or your website and things like that?
Yes. They can start by going to my website, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. That's LLOYD-Strayhorn, STRAYHORN. Not only can they read about their zodiac signs, they can sign up for the free monthly newsletter and join my numerology group too. But that's where they sign up. In fact, my online course is now on sale until July 1st. So if they can take advantage and get on it, it's fine.
Awesome. It ends July 1st, right?
Huh?
It ends July 1st. The deadline is July 1st?
Well, it's on sale, but it's always periodical.
Okay, cool.
Periodically. So if they miss it, all they got to do is wait another week or two and they'll catch it.
Good.
Okay. Then they can also reach out to me by Facebook, Numbers in You, Instagram, Numbers in You, Twitter, Numbers in You, and then LinkedIn, Numbers in You. You see how consistent, because Numbers in You is my Bible. It's my very first book, and that book is still selling to this day. It's a 400-page book I wrote on this subject, and when I published it then, I said, this book is going to sell a lifetime, and it's still selling.
Wow. Which is older, astrology or numerology? Which is older?
Well, you know, that question has been posed to me, and I say numerology. Of course, people are going to say, well, of course you're going to say numerology, Lloyd, because you're a numerologist. But let me explain the logic. For those that have had a astrology chart done, there is a process. That process is you must give them your birthday. Okay? How is that birthday given? By numbers. The number of the month you were born, the number of the day you were born, and the number of the year you were born. Then you need to give the astrologer the exact time you were born and where you were born so they could look up the longitude and the latitude. All of that is in numbers.
Right.
So you got to get to numbers first to get to that. So numbers is actually older. Cool. It's the least popular though, which is the irony.
So I'm assuming that you have clients, regular clients, to communicate with you on a regular basis. How
Yes.
does a new client? How's that process when you bring in a new client on board? And do they ask for anything in particular, like financial advice, or life advice, or relationship advice, or just how to handle their children?
No, you are on point. Primarily, it's about relationships.
Yes.
About careers and finance. About health and travel, as a rule. Normally, these are the things. Then you have some people who are nervous, that are maybe apprehensive, who've never had a reading. Then you have those who are God-fearing and feel that what this does goes against the laws of God, which it does not, because religion is a belief. What I do in numerology and astrology is a science. There's a big, big difference. If people can keep that in mind, they won't get all kind of bent out of shape. But
they do.
This is what I do.
They do. They do. They will get bent out of shape.
Oh yeah, no, they get it. Oh, trust me, I've been on the receiving end of it. But then when I ask them the question, and in the Old Testament, the fourth book of Moses is called the Book of Numbers. Now, I didn't write that to make myself look good, Rashawn. Okay? Where God instructs Moses on the first day, the second day of the second month, to name the armies by their name and their code. There is, in fact, when I refer to the Bible as a numerology book, people really get upset in the religious community. But it's not. Think of it. If I give you a passage, it's going to have a chapter and a verse. And you go to Psalm 23, verse 2. Okay? That's how you find what you want to get your message for the day, or whatever the case is. So numbers acts as a guide in all we do. Mine just use a more metaphysical approach, which is spiritually inclined to.
Now, it's a beautiful thing that we're talking about, because it's really about information, and then you can take how you use that information is your calling or your desire.
Yes, that's right.
You're a provider of information based on the information that they give you. There's no smoke and mirrors here. You're not trying to, like you said, if you don't stand in front of that bus, you go stand in front of that bus and they hit you. I told you not to stand in front of that bus. Now you can listen to me and believe me or not. And the whole process of this is that when you talk about relationship, when a person comes to you in regards to a relationship, what do you provide to them to be able to channel that goal that they're trying to achieve, or information they're trying to get out of you in regards to that relationship?
Well, when I do, for example, when couples approach me about getting married, right, which is a great question. First of all, I try to see if they have a number in common.
Yes.
So let's go back to that first example where the person is born February the 27th, and then I might have another. Then the couple might, let's say, be March the 6th. Well, first of all, the person that is March the 6th, their numbers are the 6, 3, and 9. Where the person born on February the 27th, their numbers are the 9, 3, and 6. Once I find numbers that are in common, those are the numbers I'll share. So I'll say, well, these are your best days that you share, the best dates that you share, and the best months. Now, let's say there's a couple where the numbers don't match at all. I'm going to always set the wedding date around the woman. You give her a house, she gives us back a home. You give her food, she gives us a meal. You know what I'm saying? So there's always, the woman is always the foundation to the family, to the home, and everything. I found that out when my mother passed before my father. I used to think because he was the man, big Aries and, barking orders, where my mother would just say, okay, honey, okay. Right. That's how I figured out how she got around it, right? But when she passed, that's when I found out who really ran that.
Right.
Okay? So I always set it around the woman. But if I can find numbers that are in common between both of them, that's what I aim for.
Which is great. I'm one of them sneaky believers, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to astrology. And I'm gonna just tell you how, because I go through the news, I read my newspaper every day. And then I get over to that every newspaper has an astrology section, a daily astrology section. Go in there, has a couple of maybe 2 or 3 sentences of motivation or information that they're telling you about. Then I go over there and go, oh, okay, all right. Okay, cool. Now,
go ahead.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the sneaky. I'm the sneaky guy. Okay. believe but don't want to tell everybody I believe, and then you have the people who really believe. Those are two different people, correct?
Yes, that's true. Yes,
Okay.
you got those undercover believers. Okay, then you got these.
Rushion McDonald, undercover, Lord.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I'm out of the cover now. I'm laying on the bed.
When you talk about that, there was a time in Harlem when people into astrology actually had to walk around in their astrology books in brown paper wraps. When they have paper to wrap your book bags in,
Mm-hmm.
wrap books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't walk around with an obvious astrology book. You put it in a book wrap, so people wouldn't know until they asked the subject. But this is a very long and very tried and true art that's tens of thousands of years old, and it guides people in a way that is absolutely amazing, Rashawn. That's all I can say. It's absolutely amazing.
Because now you tell me I'm the undercover guy. They won't admit. Then you have the people who are dedicated and believe, like you said, people having to walk around with brown bags at one time, not publicly saying that, because people can be perceived as like, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that's worth following? How do you overcome the skepticism?
Well, the proof is in the pudding, and I've been doing this for 30 plus years with kinds of praises and accolations and confirmations of what I do. And because it is a science, but notice this, they always say, do you really believe in it? It's not a belief system. Religion is a belief. That's why man has always killed each other. But for those, this is why, with the exception of the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, every paper practically carries a horoscope for the people that want to stay under the radar to learn out what's up about them. For those that are not afraid, for those that are more open and receptive, which is now it's really open, now people then go to professionals like myself or other people that can do this on a more professional basis and give you guidance. When you read something in the paper, that's like a broad brush stroke.
Right.
Okay. But then you might have 1,000 Pisces, but they're not all born on the same year, the same time, the same location, and they're not all born on the same day. So by going to a professional, you get more of a something just for you. That's a Rashawn McDonald moment. That's just for yours.
Yes.
I'm not
looking at a generic newspaper with generic thoughts.
Exactly.
I have my reading done for me specifically.
And then I have you recorded. I have you recorded too, so you can review it. So it makes a big difference. And the response I get, some woman told me, I said she would get married. She said she got married. I said, I did? She said, yeah, you taped it. And I, okay, fine. But these are the kinds of things, from reading people like Denzel Washington.
Yes.
For example, Denzel, when I met him, he called me behind stage after he did a play here in New York. And he explained that he was born on the 28th. His wife was born on the 28th. They married on the 28th. Their son that played in the recent movie about infiltrating the Ku Klux Klan.
Yes, Black Klansman.
He was born 28th. Yeah. So what I'm saying, and it's interesting, when Denzel Washington received his first Oscar, the presenter was, she played in Pretty Woman. I forgot her name.
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, right. Well, Julia Roberts, who presented the award, was born on the 28th herself.
Right.
Which I thought was interesting. So numbers follow people, but we're not conscious of it. And once you become conscious of it, you look at things different, and then you try to be really in a time that's appropriate to you to get the right results you want, and it saves you a lot of wear and tear, frustration, and it gets you quicker to your goal by knowing just your best days alone and your best dates. And for a person born on February the 27th, which is the example,
yes,
most people have 2 or 3 months. Well, this particular individual had 6 months: March, April, and May, October, November, and December. So if you ask them, what was the month their mom was born on? It may come under one of those months. It wouldn't surprise me. The day, the month they got married, the wife that they married, or the husband that they married, and the year that they married. I mean, this is great stuff. I love this stuff. I really do.
Well, the passion is important when you go to an expert, that it's not just a job, but it's passion and emotion and the success stories. And the thing about it, when I bring you on the show and your track record speaks for itself, major names. I can like to believe I'm a major name that will vouch for your credibility. Will say, hey, this is something that can help you stabilize your life emotionally. And one of the things in the areas that you do help people is in the area of health. Talk about that. We talked about career, and everybody gets the financial side. That's pretty much understood that. But that's why we talk about the relationships, but I also want to talk about the health side of the importance of what you do. Talk about that.
Well, it's interesting because in my book, I have a section on numerology and health. Mm-hmm. Each number rules a part of the body, and I'll just be brief. If a person is a number 1 or a Leo, that means that rules the eyes, high blood pressure, heart palpitations, the lower back. Let's say a person is born under the number 2 or the sign of Cancer, it rules the stomach and digestive tract. Diabetes, hemorrhoids, tumors, ulcers, things of that nature. Number 3 people, it rules anemia or low blood pressure, sensitivities with the skin, panic attacks and anxiety attacks.
Right.
There's some concern with the hip, thighs, and feet. Each number 4, it rules the mindset. So 4's always got to be careful what they're around, what they watch on TV, because they go through what they call moods and whatnot. 5 people, theirs is the hands, the arms, and the shoulders. With 6 is sinuses, allergies, heart palpitations, irregular blood circulation. With 7 is simply worry and anxiety more than anything else, along with night sweats. Number 8, headaches, knees, teeth, bones. To the men, more the right side, the women, more the left side. And finally, to the 9, like a person born on the 27th, they tend to be more accident prone than illness prone because they're fire. And disease don't like fire, but accidents do. Nicks, cuts, burns, bruises, breaks, fender benders, things like that.
Yes. So as we close, tell us again how we can reach out to you, how we can get in touch with you, so we can.
Okay.
He's the best, y'all. He's the best at what he does. I'm gonna call him the world's greatest. That's what I'm talking about right now.
Thank you very much, Rashawn. You know how to make a man feel good. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely, got to. Well, it's easy when you're telling the truth. It's easy when you're telling the truth.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
And not only that, but we have for years been taught to knock each other. Mm-hmm. And even when I did a show, some guy says, well, every time you talk to somebody, it's positive. Yeah, well, tell me something else I don't know. We are good at knocking each other, mm-hmm. but maybe you need to know that you have a gift with this and a gift with that to change the whole mindset. But people can get in touch with me by going to my website, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. I also have a toll-free number, which is 1-800-581-4401. I'll repeat it again, 1-800-581-4401. And then catch me on all the media sites, Instagram, Numbers in You, Twitter, Numbers in You, Facebook, Numbers in You, and LinkedIn, Numbers and You.
Please give us Samantha that number so I can put it in this week's newsletter, Lloyd. I want to thank you for coming on my show. I appreciate you. Appreciate the advice, the relationship. You're a community guy. I appreciate you being a part of that Philadelphia Reopening Summit, because your knowledge is necessary for people in these pandemic times and the Black Lives Matter times, because we all matter, my friend. And
thank you.
For the first time.
And let me tell you this. Mm-hmm. You are stuck with me for life, Rashawn. Okay, trust me. We're gonna be the best of buddies. I can feel it. Okay?
And I'm not running from it. I'm not running from it. That's why I love you. That's why I love you. Thank you for coming on my show, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right. I'm so honored, Rashawn.
All right. Care, if you want to hear more interviews, Money Making Conversation interviews, please go to moneymakingconversation.com. I'm Rashawn McDonald. I'm your host.